So while I'm taking out my hair, I'll just tell y'all about this rigged up setup I have here. I've got my phone lodged into my lamp just for some lighting. And anywho, I'm just carefully and delicately taking the braid. I had a braid going back out of my hair. Taking that out and just loosely separating my hair. One thing that I have learned over the years is that hair does not stop growing. A lot of people say, well, my hair isn't growing, my hair isn't growing. The reality is that most times we don't retain the length that is growing. And the reason we don't retain our length is because our hair care practices create breakage. I don't know if you noticed what I just did, but that's one of the most important things for you to do when you're dealing with natural hair. Beware of tangles that can rip your hair out. So, my pre-wash, for those of you that are not familiar with the pre-poo, is what we call it in the natural hair community. It's called the pre-poo because it's before you shampoo your hair. Now, some people are going to tell you to shampoo your hair. That's a different video for tomorrow. We'll talk about that then. Right now, I'm just talking about what to do before you cleanse your hair. Right here, I have a container of oil. It may be backwards on your screen, but it's jojoba oil. But inside the jojoba oil, I included, I added some essential oils, some tea tree oil because I like to put that on my scalp. I also added some orange oil because I like the smell. And I added some lemon oil because I've been trying to lighten my hair. And I find that lemon oil has been helping me to do that. Now, what I'm doing is just simply slathering a bunch of oil on my hair, focusing on my ends. Because my hair is in an old wash and go, and there's gel still in my hair from that wash and go, I don't want to add water to my hair. Like this is, you can't really see it, but it's pretty much a handful of oil that I'm using, and this is what, the third handful? So what I'm doing with the oil is literally softening my hair. And then I'll take my fingers and slide it through. Now, if my fingers get caught, well, they're not going to get caught on this section. But if it does get caught, what I do is just I separate it so that I'm not creating any tears and ripping out my hair. That's what happens. That's why I don't like to use combs. Like right here, I had a tangle. So let's pull those apart. If you're using a comb, you don't get the opportunity to feel those hairs that are tangled together with your fingers. The comb is just going to rip right through them. Your fingers can actually feel them and take precautions not to rip them. Now, when you don't rip them, you are not splitting your ends and you're making it easier to retain a length. This is why your stylists a lot of time have to cut off so much hair, because we're ripping out the hair, and then when it gets to them, you've got split ends here, split ends there, split ends everywhere from ripping out your hair, when if you were just gentle with it, it would be no split ends. They would have nothing to cut. I literally cut my hair once a year, believe it or not. One time a year. And most times when I go in there that one time a year, well, for the past 3 years, I've cut my hair once a year. And when I go in there after she cuts, there's hardly any hair on the floor. I can't see it. So yeah, I'm just going in with the oil, smoothing the oil through my hair. And when I feel like it's smooth enough, then I take my fingers and run through. And then I'm just going to bantu that section to keep it out of the way. This literally takes no time, guys, and it's a great step. I'm going to keep my hair like this all night. And the reason I'm going to keep it like this all night is because if I put a plastic cap on my head and then either a scarf or even a winter hat, like a wool scully or something like that, what's going to happen is the heat from my scalp and from that hat or that scarf is going to activate the oil and help it penetrate the shafts of my hair, softening my hair follicles, preparing it to be washed, and also ensuring that once I go in with that shampoo, I'm not stripping so many oils out of my hair, because I do now use shampoo. At one point, I didn't use sulfate shampoos, but I've learned that I need them. Now, on to another purpose or another benefit of this pre-poo that I'm doing here. I know you've probably heard that you shed 100 hairs a day. You don't have to shed 100 hairs a day, but the reality is that we do. We shed hair every single day. What you don't want to do, you don't want to go into the shower with all of these shed hairs still in your head. I mean, obviously you're not going to get them all out, but you want to get as many of them out as you can, because you don't want them to re-wrap around your hairs that are not shed and create knots. And once they create that knot, especially with natural hair, it's almost like you've got to trim it out. What we tend to do instead of trimming it out is just pulling it out, and now you've created a split end, or you've created breakage, or whatever. It's not a good look. So this is a larger section than I would normally do, and I did this so that I can show you how I handle when my hair snags on itself. I never just pull it through. I'll pull it through, and if it gets caught up, I will gently separate it. This is not only beneficial in a pre-poo, this is anytime your hands are in your hair. Don't always go for the comb. Use your fingers. They will tell you way more than the comb ever can. It should never hurt. If it hurts, you're doing something wrong. Okay. I think I'm going to take this whole back section, being as though my back section is the least thick part of my hair, and I'll just do all of that together. One thing that's important is definitely to rub the oil in your hands. I did warm up the oil. Let me say this, ladies, don't put your oil in the microwave. I had a bowl of hot water, set the oil in the bowl of hot water so that it can get warm. That's simple. You don't need to microwave your oil. It doesn't need to be steaming hot or anything like that. You just want it to be warm, especially for somebody like me who has low porosity hair. So basically your hair porosity just determines how quickly your hair will accept moisture and how long your hair will retain moisture. So there's a porosity test that you can take just with a strand of clean hair. You can put it in a cup of water and see how long it takes to sink. If it sinks immediately, you probably have damaged hair or high porosity hair. All high porosity hair isn't damaged, but anyways, that would be high porosity hair if it sinks very, very quickly. If it tends to hang out for just a bit and then start to slowly sink, you probably have normal porosity hair. If it seems like it's taken forever to sink, you're like me. You have low porosity hair. When you get in the shower, it probably takes forever for your hair to finally get wet once you put your head under the water. Now, low porosity hair, a lot of people consider it a curse. I love having low porosity hair because one thing I know is that it takes a really, really long time for my cuticle to open for my hair to receive moisture. But once the moisture gets in there, that cuticle locks and that moisture stays. So I love having low porosity hair because I don't have to continuously moisturize my hair. So now this back is about moisturized and about detangled, or finger detangled at least. If I were to go in with a comb right now, it would not be detangled, but that's not what I'm after. I'm just trying to get shed hairs out, and I'm trying to get the oil distributed through my hair. Mission accomplished. So now that all of my bantus are bantued and I'm looking good and crazy for YouTube, I'm going to put a plastic cap on my head. I'm going to put a scully on my head, and I am going to prepare my head for bed. While my hair is cooking, I can do other things, like I've got to cook dinner, I've got to clean up, whatever, but I'm going to leave this in my hair all night long. And you're like, it's just oil, but it's kind of like giving yourself a hot oil treatment beforehand. One thing I noticed when I was younger, whenever my stylist would give me hot oil treatments, after she shampooed my hair would always be weighed down. It wouldn't move. It was one of the reasons I hated going to black salons, because I felt like my hair didn't move when I left, and my hair has always moved. So doing this oil step before shampooing kind of ensures that your hair isn't weighed down. Anywho, this is it. This is the pre-poo. It's just getting oil on your hair, getting the shed hairs out of your head, and treating your hair very, very gently. So tomorrow I will come back and I will show you specifically how it is that I shampoo my hair. I know you're probably like, I know how to shampoo my hair. Believe it or not, you'd be surprised as the techniques that you guys may be using that are creating tangles in your hair. I mean, once you come out of the shower from shampooing your hair, your hair should be detangled. And let me say this, if you're not shampooing your hair in the shower and you have natural hair, see you tomorrow.